Most companies now have access to the most powerful AI tools, but very few are getting the consistent productivity gains that they were promised or expected. In this episode, you'll learn about the workforce capability gap, the growing divide between employees who know how to apply AI for daily work and those who don't. We focus on what your business can do right now to close that gap without massive software spend or long transformational projects. Let's accelerate your business. Welcome to the AI Accelerator for Business show, brought to you by 0 to 60.ai, where you get the latest strategies, tactics, and trends about the business benefits of artificial intelligence. My name is Carl Ye. I'm joined by my co-host, Jeff Bradshaw. And today we're talking about closing the workforce capability gap. And so what we mean by this is that we see major gaps in people using AI versus people using it for their workplace. And in the past, we've seen two gaps, but actually there's three. The first gap is people who use AI frequently versus those who don't use it at all or use it infrequently. The next gap is between the people who use it frequently versus those who use it to its full capabilities. But the third gap that it's growing to is the people who either use it frequently, use it to its full capability, but are they actually using it for their work, to benefit their work, right? And I'm seeing that gap where there's people using AI but don't actually use it to its full capabilities or for the purpose of what they're doing for the business or their job.
You know what I think it is I think that it's still such new territory, Carl, that people don't even understand what's possible. And I don't think people are not doing it because they don't want to. I think it's just a lack of, you and I talk about this all the time. A lot of the times I'm doing something, I'm going to, I don't know, create a document or do a report. And I'm like, I don't want to deal with this. And you and I are on a call together and you're like, well, why don't you use XYZ tool? And I'm just like, like I didn't even think about that. And I think that's the big thing with trying to close that gap. If you really start to think AI first, and truly take a look at the tasks you do on a daily basis. We see it too, where a lot of people say, well, I use AI all the time for my personal use, but I don't use it at work.
Yeah.
Well, why not?
And part of it too is, you only know what you know, and you don't have all the time in the world as we do, although we don't have the time in the world, but like it's our role to be on top of the latest features, capabilities, and releases, and we're having trouble doing that too. But how can a person who has a full-time job, full-time commitments in both work and outside of work, family commitments, to even know, hey, did you know that Claude has Claude for Excel? Or do you know that Gemini 3 came out and you can do all these things? Like, I don't know, but do I really need to? Because I have my job to do. And I think too, it's like, just because you have access to AI, whatever tool it is, doesn't necessarily mean that you've learned how to apply it to daily work. And even if you have training, even if you got the latest training, the training probably has generic examples in which, okay, that's fine, but how am I going to use it for my job on a daily basis? I don't know. You never showed me. And it's impossible for the people training to do that because the use cases for each business, each employee is so different. How can you, how would you know that this tool can do invoice consolidation?
And I think there's a couple of things. I think there's AI ignorance, where there's people that just don't pay attention. I think there's also AI anxiety, where you start to get into it and it almost becomes so overwhelming that you just shut down because you're kind of like, I can't keep up. I'm trying to keep up. And so I don't feel like I'm keeping up. So I'm just going to give up.
Yes.
And I think that I've seen that with a lot of people too, where it's just like, and I think probably the message in that, what I find is that you don't have to be 100% up to speed on every model and every release. And I also think we talk about this too a lot with a lot of clients is don't necessarily get caught up with the latest release and feature, because sometimes it's a distraction. A lot of the releases they come out with are early stage and they're not even fully developed. So why are you spending time trying to figure out how to use this latest and greatest tool and ignore the tools that are proven and you're able to integrate on a daily basis sitting right in front of you?
One thing too, it's very interesting to talk about, and just I'll give a quick example of this too, right? The example would be, I'm going to take two, Claude and ChatGPT, right? In Claude, if you hit the plus button, there's a whole bunch of stuff here, right? And the analogy I like to use is, imagine if you're driving a car and every week or every 2 weeks, you have a new button or a new switch, or let's say you have a touchscreen, there's a new feature. Unless, and even if you get the notification, which you'll probably turn off because you have other things to think about, with so many features and releases coming up, right? How are you supposed to connect that feature release with your work unless you actually put the thinking behind it? How can you know that deep research can research internal documents that you may need for forecasting? How do you know that, you can use connectors to connect to your SharePoint to be able to do a discrepancy search? It's very, very difficult to be able to do that on a regular basis.
Well, and I think the thing is too that I find with a lot of these is that you hear about a certain AI tool that can do something, so you get really excited, you go and try it out, and it's not fully developed and it doesn't really work the way they said it would work. So then you get frustrated, and I see that all the time. I mean, there's lots of hype and expectations that this AI tool is going to solve this problem
Yeah.
completely. I think a lot of people have to understand that again, it's still a rapidly developing technology. And I think that again, if you take it in stride, um, but I also think on the other side, you can't just completely ignore it. And I think that's what we see with a lot of people when you're trying to close that gap, like you talk about. Um, there are so many real basic applications that you could implement
Yeah.
that you don't.
Yeah. I think one thing that we have to mention too is about training, right? Even if people get trained on using AI, basics of AI foundations, whatever that is, how many times have we heard, how is that useful to me? And at the same time, too, one time training, a LMS training module, or a lunch and learn is not enough. Even a 2 hour session, even a half day session, we've done it in the past. That's not enough because of the changes, things that we would have taught 6 months ago, from something as simple as prompting principles to different tool use changes because there's always updates. So the training isn't the traditional software training of one and done, two and done. It's literally, you got to train everybody every 2 weeks, 2 months, 3 months, 6 months at minimum, or else everyone's back to the basics again because the acceleration has changed.
Absolutely. And I think the key with that too is again going back to closing the gap is, do a regular check-in on that return on investment. And whether that's an investment of time, money, resources, don't keep doing something just because it's AI if you're not seeing an actual return on the investment. That's just silly. And I think that that's what a lot of people do too, is they just like, well, this is the new process that I'm going to do. But I think, if you start to take a look at some of these applications, I know for a fact, I always, we talk about Whisperflow. I know that Whisperflow saves me hours and hours and hours every month because I don't have to type, I just talk. Like, I know there's a good return on that investment. I know when I'm, trying to review large documents, I know using a ChatGPT or Gemini or whatever it is to summarize documents is a time saver. So I think that's the big thing too, is really looking for those returns on that investment.
A big one that we're seeing is each company, there's usually pockets of people who are using AI, whether great, whether not. I think a big element of that though is the people who know how to apply it to their jobs and know how to use the full capabilities or a lot of the capabilities, they're going to start outperforming the people who either don't use it or use it infrequently, which provides that productivity divide too. And I think that is a danger for a lot of companies because that stuff breeds maybe not resentment for the employees, but like, who do you start putting resources behind, right? It's like the people who are out producing, out creating, one group versus the other. But at the same time, too, it's really not their fault because one group, let's say, is really, really busy with whatever their task is, versus another group has a little bit more time to learn and maybe takes more initiative because they have the time to take the initiative. It's really not, I guess, fair for one group to be able to have that time and learn while another group could just be as productive, but they just have more work that takes more of their time that they don't have the time to do it. And I think that's where like as leaders, this is where your job is like, how can you do the rising tide lifts all boats versus just having pockets of people using AI and rewarding those pockets just because they either have more time or they just are interested in the subject versus other people who may not be interested but could just be as more productive.
Well, it's funny because we use a lot of those similar old quotes. I mean, the whole sharpening your saw thing.
Yes.
A lot of people, we got out of a meeting this morning and they're like, we're real busy, and we're like, yeah, but if you don't take the time to sharpen your saw, everything's going to be more difficult, right?
Yeah.
And so I think
Yeah.
that's the other thing too is make it a priority to set some time aside.
Because I think it's easy personally to be able to use AI for whatever personal reason, making a recipe, that's the example, booking travel, all that kind of stuff. It's easier to do that. But when you're at work, when you've done something the same way you've done it over and over again, you know the outputs of it. It's a lot different. It's a lot different mindset to shift to that when you're at work, when you have multiple deadlines, and when there's a little bit more at stake, not just your recipe or whatever you're cooking that night or which trip you're gonna take. There's a lot more expectation, um, risk that you're not quite sure this tool can actually deliver consistent results.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So what I mean, Carl, on your take, what are the key things for companies for closing that gap then? I mean, we've talked a lot about a lot of things here.
Well, I think the big one is for us has always been the workshops, right? So not just providing foundational training, but actually, whether it's your AI champions, bringing like groups like 0 to 60, like us in to facilitate how do you get people to actually use AI for their jobs, right? Not just generic examples, not just training, but like, hey, for that financial modeling, how do you actually use AI to do that? For that booking, setting up meetings, doing cross calendar analysis. How do you actually leverage AI to check your emails, check your calendars, and create meeting recommendations with agendas? How do you do that?
I
Right?
think the interesting thing with those workshops and with what we always find beneficial is we actually go in and say, let's give us the data. Let's not just talk about it. Let's run it on a couple of different models and see what the outcome is. And 9 times out of 10, the people we're working with are like, holy crap, didn't
Yes.
realize AI was capable of that.
Yes, because it actually impacts them personally now, right? In their work, not just, oh, that's a generic example. You made that up. But that doesn't I don't do that because this is how we do it. So you have to show how AI works for that individual person. Sometimes that person is either too busy or won't take the time to make the mental leap from connecting a generic example to their example, to what they do. I think that's like one of the biggest steps. It's actually not about creating pilots. It's not about like doing experiments. It's actually working with the employees to show them how they can use it for their jobs. But that also requires time and resources and knowledge on what these things can do. And I think that's where like your AI champion or committee, that's what their job is, to go out, explore, have budget to test some of these tools in those key business processes, not just for their specific use case.
Well, and I think the key thing there is when we do these workshops too, we're not afraid to fail. A lot of the times we'll do something and like, oh, that output wasn't great or that didn't do it. So you try a different model, you try a different model, you
Yeah.
try something else. And eventually we either find a solution or we go, the technology's not quite there yet. Let's move on to the next one. And I think what ends up happening when people do this individually is they try it, it fails. They
Once.
might try one more time,
Yeah.
it fails again, and they're like, they give up on it. Whereas
Yeah.
we dig in to kind of go, well, there's probably 20 different angles on how to try and get this or different tools. And I
Yeah.
think that's the exciting part about it. And that again definitely helps close that gap.
And, this is 2026. I remember at the beginning of 2025, I was a little hesitant to leverage AI for financial outputs just because the tech wasn't as great at it as it is now. Now we kind of lead with that, but in the past, that wasn't something that you'd necessarily lead with in terms of the accuracy or the just the ability. But now the quality and the ability is very high. So, like you always say, a use case may not be available today, but in 6 months, 12 months, 2 months, it could be there to do what you want it to do.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I think some of the quotes that were pulled out from here are quite interesting. That the gap isn't AI capability; it's workforce capability.
Yeah.
Buying AI tools doesn't make you productive; using them well does. And then your best AI investment is training your best people how to think differently. You know,
It's a lot of the, especially the third one there, right? Because it's a different mentality of how to think about using AI, because you should be able to problem solve with AI, right? Instead of, oh, this prompt doesn't work, this custom GPT doesn't work, this Claude project doesn't work. It's like, but why doesn't it work? Ask the system, ask your tool, hey, how come this didn't work? This is the output I was expecting. How come you didn't get there? And once you learn how to start problem solving with it, it just becomes a lot easier. So the takeaway that we want you to do is like, hey, pick one role in your company, identify that most recurring task that takes 1 to 3 hours a week, and can you build a simple prompt workflow for that, and then measure the time and quality of its output and see where you can get. Want to learn how AI can impact your business? Then please watch these videos. Enjoy today's episode. Want to learn how to use AI to level up your business? Then please subscribe to this channel. Thanks for watching, and we'll catch you next time.